What's up, everyone? It's your boy Norn Radd, continuing the Final Destination review series, as today we're talking about the third installment in the Final Destination franchise. Yes, this one, I'm a fond favorite of mine. I love this one. This one is an early start from Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's in this film. I love her as an actress, and Final Destination 3 just has one of my favorite kind of casts to be around. So today we're going to discuss this film, the positives, the negatives, and the rating. Then I'm going to send you all home. So let's do this. Roll it. So when it comes to Final Destination 3 and this franchise so far, I'm still on board. I love the first film. I enjoyed the second film. And when we get to this third film, I'm telling you right now, the positives I'm just going to tell you are going to outweigh the negatives. I really do enjoy this one as well. Final Destination 3 introduces a new cast of kids who I think in my mind, the only reason I can tell there's a connection between this one, the second, and the first one is that they're in the same county. It's McKinley County, which I think is the same city or same county that the kids are in from the first and second film as well, or the people that are related to them and know them, you know what I mean? Because in the second one, you find out that they're all directly involved or were supposed to be involved with the people from Flight 180. But yeah, in the third film, I think they just live in the same county, and that's kind of the connection and stuff like that. But we have Wendy in here, who's our lead in this one, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I think is fantastic. Then we have Ryan Merriman. If a lot of people might know him from the Disney Channel, he was in a lot of cool movies like Luck of the Irish and I think Smart House and stuff like that. So that's really cool to see him in this film. And I think in terms of chemistry-wise, leading right into our positives, they're my favorite two chemistry wise, besides the first cast in the first film. And just I love that they're just so much fun to be around. And even the comedy in this one, I think when it comes to the cast of characters, I think there's unintentional funny moments. Even the morning scenes, like we always have the funeral scene, you know what I mean, in all the movies, because we have the deaths of the people that actually die in the accidents. So in this one, when we see the kids going to the funeral, it's just so much like drama, but it's like drama in a funny way for me, and I laugh at it because it has kind of this Lifetime Hallmarky feel to it, but the characters really deliver in the thing is I like our kind of 4th of July kind of, theme, or like firework theme to this one, like the whole pageant theme. It's not really a third act. It's kind of almost a false third act. It's our main sequence, but that happens at the end sequence, and it's just something I really enjoy because it has that melodrama that's mixed in it as well with the characters and stuff like that, especially when we have that one guy, the goth guy, coming back. He's very upset because his girlfriend died, and he thinks he's going to be involved with Wendy's death, and it just gets very tense, and they're all screaming at each other. I'm all down for that melodrama stuff, so for real, that sequence I'm happy with, but there is some other stuff I want to discuss in mixed and negatives when we get to that. So besides the cast and the comedy, it's so fun to be around them. So that's one key positive right there for real in terms of that. And I also love in this one when it comes to the premonitions, it's not so much the crash zoom or seeing these awful CGI effect shots or just seeing the death flash right before your eyes. It's actually a pictures. Like Mary Elizabeth Winstead has this camera and there's pictures, and the camera that she develops, the film, it has kind of hints in all the pictures for how the characters are going to die within this film. So I think that's really cool. It's a very interesting way to do the premonitions, and it sets itself apart from the other films. So this one for me, Final Destination 3, has always been one that I've really enjoyed because of the unintentional comedy, the cast, and like I said, the creative way to do the premonitions, because that's something that I'm a huge fan of, is how we see them, how we interpret that and Death's message or whoever's sending the messages to these characters. Another positive is I think this one has a really quick, fast pace, you know what I mean? It's a brisk film. It doesn't feel like you're trying to sit down and watch like a 2.5-hour movie or a 2-hour movie. Like, yes, I would probably watch a 2-hour Final Destination film, but to do that, you got to have a lot more story, and this one is kind of more just thin, just has everything it needs to be with all the fat trimmed off of it, and I like that. It's a fast watch, and as like I said, at this point in the franchise, I'm still very much enjoying it. But then when we get into the later films, which we're going to discuss later on the channel, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those videos. But yeah, Final Destination 3 is still for me in the ballpark of a really, really good film. Let's start off with mixed and negatives, and when it comes to this film, there's really only two. really big negatives that I have with this film. The first one is that this is an overuse of CGI. This is the first Final Destination film where they very much leaned into CGI and special effects and leaned away from practical effects. And that me being a huge practical effects guy, and I love that in films, that's a huge thing that is kind of a negative in this one. I do like the kills, and they're very cool and creative in this film, but like I said, a majority of them are CGI, and even that first sequence when we have the premonition that Wendy has, and it's the roller coaster sequence, even that is a lot of CGI in that one. So it's just, like I said, kind of leaning more into what's going to be very bad about Final Destination 4 and 5 when we get to those ones. And my other huge negative with this one is that we have the ending sequence. We already talked about how I said I was going to spoil these films. They've been out for a while. This one's from 2000, I think 6 or 9, something around that time. But spoilers, yes, the ending of this film. I do not like the ending. I very much hate the fact that we get a last second premonition for Wendy's character and she doesn't have an opportunity to change it at all. It's literally she gets the premonition and then 3 seconds later we are already into the premonition and they die. Like, the credits roll and everything, but in the sound in the background, you can hear the subway crash and you hear the people screaming and everything. So we are to assume that her premonition came true and they all died. So that's a huge, huge negative for me because, like I said, this is my second favorite cast to be around. I like these characters a lot. Besides the first film, it's my second favorite cast to be around. So having them die at the end and not really getting a chance to even affect that second premonition or kind of leave us hanging, like they could have left us hanging. I would have been happier with that, where she saw the premonition and then it was starting to happen, but we didn't hear them die. Because like I said, when the credits roll, you hear the train crash and you hear everybody screaming. So as audience members, that's leading to us or telling us that we are to assume that they all died on that subway. But like I said, Final Destination 3 is still one that I really enjoy. In terms of a Radd rating for this film, Final Destination 3 is going to get an 8 out of 10. A very, very solid film and one I really enjoy. And like I said, for the first 3 films, this is a great trilogy. I love Final Destination, the first film. The second film is really enjoyable, and the third film is just as good as well. So like I said, we're firing on all cylinders right now. But we have Final Destination 4 coming next to discuss. So be sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell poked so you're notified anytime I drop a video. But most importantly, I want y'all to have a safe and happy day. Peace out.